All right, we have Jem here in the studio for our Kids Culture Club, and I've been talking about food. I'm already hungry, by the way.
Right, you must be starving. The more you talk about it, the hungrier you get.
Yeah, and I know it's so gloomy outside because it's raining, but you look like a ray of sunshine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm wearing my Valentine's Day / White Day. I only have 2 chances per year.
Wow, today is White Day. I did not even think about that.
Really? Surprise. And
Yeah.
today's the day, as far as food goes, you should be eating chocolate.
Yeah, or candies.
Or
as
candy,
is, yeah.
yes.
I'm not sure if there's anyone who's out there preparing some candies or some sweet treats for me today.
Oh, okay.
Have
I'll
you
find you
got-
some.
Have you received yours?
I did. I got one this morning, which was a surprise.
Ooh,
Yes.
wow. From whom?
From my husband.
Wow.
Yeah. He's not much for holidays. That's also, we could talk about that sometimes as well. But these kind of holidays, he's not familiar with them.
Okay.
But I just flat out say, hey, I want chocolate. And then he will do it. So.
Okay. So that's something easy. That's something
Yeah.
easy. Yeah. For those of you who don't know or had no idea what is White Day, it's actually the I think the turn for women to get the sweets, because for Valentine's Day here in Korea, the men get the chocolates.
Right.
you
The
know?
women or the men. Oh, wait. I'm confused too.
Yeah, the women give the chocolates
Give the
to the
chocolate.
men. And for White Day, it's the women who gets to receive candies and chocolates
Finally.
from men. Yeah, finally today.
Yes.
And I did not even think about that. Wow. Well, anyway, happy White Day to everyone. You are very lucky if you already have received your sweets today. I haven't had any yet.
And if you forgot about it, there is still time, guys. So the day is not over yet.
Yeah, we're still, it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, so you actually still have a few more hours to make sure you give someone the sweets that they need today. Anyway, we're talking about ethnic food here. What's your favorite ethnic food, Jem?
Right. I saw the question of the day and I thought very deeply about it, but I could easily choose Italian food.
Oh.
Growing up, I had a lot of Italian American friends, and they would invite me over to their house during Christmas. And during Christmas, they have this tradition called the Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah, doesn't that sound great?
Okay.
So they prepare 7 different types of fish dishes.
Oh.
Because typically on Christmas Eve, they want to abstain from eating meat or dairy. That's
Oh,
also part of
really?
their kind of culture.
Uh-huh.
So, but it's amazing. That homemade Italian food or Italian American food, I think nothing can beat it. It's the best for
Wow.
me.
Wow. Now, for the Philippines, I think it's during New Year where we actually make sure we have 13 round fruits on the table.
13 round fruits, all different types
All
of
different
fruit?
types of
Oh.
fruits that's round. You can have apples, pears, persimmons, anything that's round, but you have to make it 13. Make sure it's 13.
So is 13 a lucky
A
number,
lucky
as
number of
opposed
sorts.
to Western culture
Yeah.
where it's unlucky? Interesting.
So there you go. I think that's something. There isn't really a particular food. Oh, ham. We actually have to have ham when it's New Year and Christmas in the Philippines as well. But 7 types of fish dishes. This is the first time I'm hearing
Oh,
about
but
it.
it's very delicious. Yes.
So we're going to talk about food culture and also preferences of kids when it comes to food, right?
Right. Since we generally talk about multicultural families, we're going to talk about food and the food preferences. But of course, what type of food that is served in your household depends on your cultural background, right? So just starting from the beginning, how about you? You yourself.
Okay.
What kind of foods did you eat growing up?
Well, someone mentioned Tom Yum Kung, 2758 earlier on. They answered, Thai food. Well, there's a quite similar dish in the Philippines as Tom Yum Kung. It's called sinigang. So I really, really love that. It's a sour broth and everything. It can be meat, it can be fish, it can be like anything that you actually want to put into it. You can in the same. I mean, the same broth, different meats, different. You can put all of the vegetables that you want to put into it as well. So it's kind of like sinigang for me. And of course, the staple food of the Philippines is called adobo.
Oh, I know that one. That's very popular in Hawaii too.
Oh,
Yeah, chicken
really?
adobo, pork adobo.
Yeah,
Yes.
adobo is actually here in Korea you actually call that, I think it's like 장조림 of sorts. 조림, yeah,
Oh.
like, but here in Korea we don't use um vinegar. In the Philippines we use soy sauce and vinegar
For the
to do the adobo.
Oh.
To do the adobo dish. So it's really very popular. It doesn't I think it holds well. You don't. I think every single you can have it for 7 days and still won't get tired of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Challenge accepted then.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something that I had growing up, and
Oh.
mostly, if you ask any other Filipino, that's basically one of the most, or two of the most staple dishes in the Philippines.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
interesting. For me too, I am American and I
Mm-hmm.
grew up eating American food, or so I thought, actually. But little did I know that the foods that I ate growing up are from my grandparents' or
Yeah.
great grandparents' countries.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, we often ate goulash,
Uh-huh.
which is like a beef stew
Yeah.
from Eastern Europe, bratwurst, sauerkraut from
Yeah.
Germany,
Uh-huh.
and believe Schweinhaxen. I'm actually not sure I'm pronouncing it right,
Okay.
but pig's feet
Okay.
and even liver. My grandfather used to prepare like animal liver, but so like these German foods as well. And I never thought twice about it, but
Yeah, you thought you were eating American food
this is American food, right?
because you're eating it in the U.S. Uh-huh.
Right, but I didn't know that I was also being influenced. And actually, I found this really great quote from a writer, Geetha Reddy, who said, anyway, food practices are important in our family because they enable construction and maintenance of cultural, racial, and ethnic identities.
Yeah.
Right? It's being passed on to me.
Uh-huh.
So if we think of it too, we are both, expats originally to
Yeah.
Korea.
Yes.
We're not from Korea. We came here, but we settled down. And the way we connect back to our culture is through food, right?
Uh-huh.
So
I'd
what do you
agree with
think?
that. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think food plays a very, a major role in, once you have kids, you actually try to introduce them to the culture of your country. And the very first thing that you get to introduce is food. Like
Right.
my kids can't live without adobo and sinigang. They love it.
They love it too.
They love those dishes. And just for me to make it a bit more, let's say, what we call the word that we use here in Korea is fusion. So
Fusion.
fusion food. So I put like red pepper paste or gochujang in my adobo.
Oh,
and
really?
it's really great as well. So it's a mixture of cultures. I think that's what happens to us, as expats living in other countries. When you introduce food, you try to like get the different influences that you have had when you were growing up and in the country that you are currently living in.
Right.
So it's a mix of everything. So fusion, most of the time we don't actually have the original of everything. We have fusion of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And even as an expat, I tend to adapt. I learned how to cook a lot of the dishes that are not available in Korea.
Yeah,
Right.
using the ingredients that are here.
Right. So it becomes kind of an edited version, or like you said, fusion. But right. Not only the food itself, the culture is also the practices around how we eat the food, right?
Yeah.
In Italy, I mentioned Italian food. They tend to eat over long courses, long hours as a family, kind of
Ooh.
preparing large dishes. I would say in the US, we do barbecue in the summertime,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Uh-huh.
And in fact, as of January 2022, UNESCO recognized 25 food and drink related traditions as part of intangible cultural heritage of
Yeah.
humanity.
I think kimjang is one of that. We have
That's
talked
right.
about that
So-
here in the show.
Right,
Yeah.
kimjang is on the list, and like the practice and actually the preparation, like kimjang became
No, I
part of it.
really love it when we actually gather together. I mean, the entire family gathers together for a feast or something, because most of the time you see the man cook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when it's when it's the big celebrations, you actually get to see all of the men cooking. I think it's also the same with barbecue in the US. Mostly the men are actually doing the barbecue itself.
That's a
They're
good
doing the
point.
cooking, right?
I didn't think about it, but that's right. Most of the time, my father wouldn't cook, but right, when it comes to
Barbecue.
barbecuing, like that's the manly thing to do. Do I want to say it like
Yeah.
that? But it's a source of pride for
Yeah,
them.
I would think so too. So that's something that I have noticed back in the Philippines as well, that men usually will cook more during, if there is a particular celebration that needs a lot of food and a lot of people coming in. So you see them working, cooking outside, because you cannot just cook with the big pots, using the big
Right.
pots in your ordinary kitchen. You actually have to go outside and cook, and that's when the men are actually out there. And I still can, oh God, now,
Picture it.
yeah, I can picture it. I mean, you can picture the entire pig
Oh,
being
roasting?
barbecued. Yeah, the
Oh.
roasted, the whole roasted pig. Oh, now I'm really hungry. But
Right, I can
anyway,
picture it. I can smell it too. I can
okay.
imagine.
Yeah, so how do these cultural food practices actually passes down to our children? Because that's what we do. I mean, if men, I sort of was like that when I first came in. Well, hey, this is a celebration. This is Myeongjol, so men have to cook, but it doesn't happen here.
Right. It's the opposite.
It's
Come
the
on.
opposite. Okay, so how do we actually pass down these food practices to our children?
Right. So that's where we started, right? Our background, where we came from. So what we ate as children is often what we prepare for our children. We learn our roots through food. And I suppose the introduction to the cultural food starts even when they are babies.
Yeah.
In the US, when children are born, usually the first food we prepare is like a hot cereal or oatmeal.
Yeah.
Whereas, it has iron and vitamins. Whereas my mother-in-law was feeding rice porridge to my
Oh.
children. And then also she liked to serve fish. So rice porridge, fish, seaweed. These were
Okay.
the basics for the baby.
Uh-huh.
Of course, pureed fruits and veggies for nutrition are the same around amongst many cultures, but in general, my mother-in-law then and now was strictly, it's got to be rice, seaweed, and fish.
Yeah, for the
So
babies, right?
right, and then they kind of developed that taste from a very, very young age.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I can't imagine because I don't really eat like raw garlic. I still
Oh,
don't eat raw garlic. I cannot.
it's spicy.
It's really spicy. But my kids, when they were like 4 or 5 years old, they were eating it already.
Really? 4 or
Yeah, so it's like
5?
having grandmothers, grandfathers at home, and all of them eating all of the food that's being served. So they're just trying every single thing that that all of the adults are actually eating. So it's something that they are exposed to. Now, for you, what do you actually prepare for your kids?
Right. So for me, I usually prepare something like spaghetti.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually think that is a food that is popular with kids all around the world, some form of noodles.
Yeah.
So that's spaghetti, udon, kalguksu, jjajangmyeon. Do you
Oh
guys eat
yeah.
noodles at home or when your children were
Yeah.
younger?
Yeah, we actually do. And in the Philippines, we have what we call the sweet spaghetti.
Sweet spaghetti.
Spaghetti in the Philippines, actually, we're so used to having sweet spaghetti. So
Oh.
yeah, you might not be able to, but there's a particular fast food chain in the Philippines that serves this particular spaghetti where you have hot dogs on your spaghetti and everything, and it's sweet. So kids love
Ah.
this. My kids are very much used to eating sweet spaghetti. So
I think we have the same
uh-huh,
chain in Hawaii.
uh-huh,
And I
yeah.
am pretty sure I've seen this food and I was like, what? What is this? But I have never tried it, so I
Uh-huh.
won't judge it till I try it.
Okay.
Yes.
So there
But
is yeah. Uh-huh.
well, I want to tell you though about I found this really cool article in Time magazine
Okay.
that was filled with images of kids in different countries
Mm-hmm.
surrounded by the foods they eat on a regular basis. So they had
Oh.
France, Italy, Senegal, Saudi Arabia, like countries from all continents. but there were some common denominator foods. Yes, pasta was one of them. Pasta and
Wow.
noodles.
We actually have the picture.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, our
Oh, you
producer
found it.
actually put up the picture on the monitor. I think we're going to share it with you on our viewable
Oh,
radio.
yes,
There
please
you go.
do.
Those are the kids. Uh, from Mumbai. Both kids are from Mumbai, actually, the picture that we're looking at today. And those are the food that they're
Right.
surrounded with, that they grew up with, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then like also what they typically eat in a week as well.
Mm-hmm.
But almost every image contained eggs or tomatoes in some
Uh-huh.
form, chicken as the most common meat.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that made me laugh is no matter the culture, almost every single photo had potato chips
Oh,
or
wow.
crackers.
Wow. Okay.
So
Well, yeah, I would
kids
think
love
so as well.
snacks.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter where you're from, and
Uh-huh.
probably adults too.
Mm-hmm.
But potato chips are a very popular food around the
The
world.
world. Well, how about your own children? I mean, if you actually or if you're going to take a picture of your kids in the middle, what kind of food will we be seeing around them?
Oh, yes. So my kids are exactly 50-50 between the cultures.
Uh-huh.
We eat spaghetti with kimbap on the side.
Oh.
My daughter made little kimbaps and then we had spaghetti as the main dish. I took a picture too. It was too funny.
Uh-huh.
But their favorite foods are macaroni and cheese. That's the
Wow.
American side.
Uh-huh.
And their favorite Korean food is just rice with water.
Rice with water.
So plain, but that is the most wonderful food to them. They will just eat it up. So,
Wow. I mean, rice with water. What's
Right.
rice with water? I think
Yes.
this is, the only time that I see rice with water is when, the elderly are not feeling well and they don't really want to eat, but they have to. So they just pour water over their
Right.
rice and eat it. But for kids,
I
wow.
guess since they were born, and I also participate in a group for moms
Mm-hmm.
of multicultural families in Korea on social media,
Mm-hmm.
and I conducted a brief survey myself.
Oh.
About 60% said their children prefer
Mm-hmm.
both countries' foods. 28% said their children prefer Korean food because
Oh.
they live in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And the remaining 12% kind of gave various answers that due to food allergies,
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't really pinpoint what cultural food they like. It's more about
Okay.
what they can eat.
Yeah, now food allergies. What kind of food allergies are we talking about? Because my kids don't have any particular allergy
at
to
all?
food. Yeah.
Yeah, us too, but I kind of looked into this.
Mm-hmm.
As for the multicultural family responses, milk, eggs, and peanuts
Mm-hmm.
were the most common answers. But I decided to dig a little deeper
Mm-hmm.
about in Korea.
Okay.
So, according to KoreaMed.org, the common food allergies varied by age.
Mm-hmm.
Under 2, it was cow's milk, eggs, and wheat.
Wow.
From 2 to 6 years of age, walnuts, eggs, and milk.
Mm-hmm.
7 to 12, walnuts, wheat, and peanuts. And from 13 to 18, buckwheat, wheat, and shrimp. So
Oh.
they were basically the same kind of allergies,
Mm-hmm.
but depending on the age, the severity.
Oh, wow. Now, I don't have any allergies myself. I haven't found anything that I am allergic to yet.
Lucky.
Yes. How about you?
I don't have any, and as of now, my children don't, but
Mm-hmm.
they do recommend to monitor what foods give a reaction,
Okay.
no matter what. And then, as we mentioned, today is White Day. I
Mm-hmm.
really hope no one out there is allergic to chocolate
Oh, no.
because I also found out, turns out in most Western countries,
Mm-hmm.
chocolate is the number one preferred sweet food for kids.
Oh.
Yes.
We had potato chips in every
I
picture.
know.
During what about that Time magazine article you were talking
Right.
about?
I thought it was going to be potato chips, but turns out kids, well, maybe the frequency of eating is potato chips, but preference goes to chocolate.
Chocolates. Well, I
Yes.
love chocolates as well. I love both. I'm like
too.
a junkie when it comes to
Chocoholic.
food. Yeah. So yes, that's actually something that I am so used to. 8468 said, loving the sweet spaghetti and fried chicken combo. Yeah, that's the
Oh.
J brand, the fast food joint, the most the most famous fast food joint in the Philippines. Yeah, I miss that as well. I wish we have one here in Korea.
Maybe
But
someday.
yeah, someday. Well, thank you very much for all of that information, Jem. Now,
Sure.
remember, just like what Jem said, try to be, try to look out for signs if there's any food that your kid is, that causes a reaction to your kid. So that's something that you might actually have to be aware of. Now, that's everything that we have today for the show. I hope you enjoyed Diverse Voices today. Mananer is coming up next after a song. This is Wabu with Sarudu. This has been Jasmine. Join me once again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Love y'all.